and then I'm going back, and I'll be working remote with them. And if I need to, I'll come back to work with them. They're building an application for me, for my startup, that teaches people how to do mindfulness. Yeah. I'm gonna go use the restroom. I'll be right back. and just, yeah.
Hi. Shake it. What do you do? Officience. So my name is Shaker. I work for Tigo, Visual Bank. So for me, anything to do with mindfulness, I'm interested.
All right, you guys can introduce each other. Yeah, so how do you turn off screensaver, do you know?
They don't have a taxi, use a taxi. No idea. And they provide the experience. Oh, okay. Which device is it?
The control panels and
Screensaver.
10 minutes.
I'll say never. Okay. And then I don't know if it's my imagination. Did this turn off or did you turn it off? So we're just waiting for a few more people to come. But there's a few questions. I'm skipping ahead. The goal tonight is to kind of open up and go a couple of levels deeper. And some of this might make sense to you, some of this might not. So if there's some questions here or statements that resonate, please feel free to share with. Can we make it bigger?
You can move this one a little bit back. Yeah, move it back.
Yeah. Can you read that? Yeah. Am I in the way to? And then. Topics to share with other people. Because the last time we did an event, one of the main goals of people were to meet other people and also to share with like-minded people. Okay, do you know why that turned off? Is there a setting on this to turn off or?
So we need for telecom companies, ISPs.
Okay. So we're just kind of waiting for other people to trickle in. Yeah, yes. So just going to wait a few more minutes. But if there's some things you'd like to share with the person next to you. Yeah.
So one thing that triggers me positively or negatively?
Either way.
Either way.
This tonight's a discussion of becoming more aware of.
So yeah, I can share. When the expectations is not met, I really get worried. Especially if it's very small thing to do and people don't want to do it. Really.
Yeah.
Usually I'm very patient, but when I realize people are doing it on purpose,
Yeah.
then I really get worried.
Yeah. Okay. And does your best self come out when you're triggered? Does your best self come out when you're triggered?
Most of the time I'm good. It's the first day, so I just need a trigger to go on the other side.
Ah, yes, yes.
You start for
No, just share with everybody.
Yeah. Have you two met? Have you guys met yet? Hey, Alan.
change it up today.
Alright, let's get this for it. Is there room, Tom? Alan?
How are you? Good. That's me. Good.
Excuse me? Oh. Alright. All right.
Yes, I work in room 23.
So you guys know each other? Excellent.
OBS. We keep pulling each other's legs, so I think we know each other well.
Nice.
Like some good direction.
Very cool.
Everyone literally.
Have you started?
Yeah.
Are you tired?
Okay.
No. Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, you,
Ready.
you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
10 minutes ago.
What?
10 minutes ago, I started just run something like.
Do you know how we can keep it? It's because every once in a while? Okay.
At that moment, I saw the word meditation.
That's why.
For me, it's the first.
Okay. Alright, can again? Okay. Alright, you guys. I think we'll start to begin. That's a good sign. It means the right people are here. All right. All right, you guys ready to get started? Do you think, should we move it in a little, or are you guys all comfortable? Can you see the screen? All right, great.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to get away with it.
Cool. Cool. All right, great. Thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure being here in Ho Chi Minh City for 2 months. I'm leaving Wednesday, and it's been amazing, you guys hosting different talks. I've met so many really cool people. This venue attracts smart, innovative, thoughtful people. So I just wanted to thank you guys for showing up. So here's the agenda for tonight. We'll probably go for about an hour, hour and a half max. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. And so we're going to start out with context. We already cheated a little and did a little of that, but we'll kind of wrap that up. Because we really want to understand your lives, both your inner and outer lives. Outer, what's going on, what are the challenges, the triggers, your business, your personal life. But then the inner life, which is thoughts, sensations, emotions, and that's what we're going to be, that's the theme of tonight, is kind of looking inward and getting the inward mindset. Then I'm going to go over some high-level concepts, including what is an inward mindset, and how, when we apply that to ourselves, we can access our best self. And then what are the triggers that get in our way of staying connected to our best selves? What's the difference between a reaction and a response? The power of reflection and community to help us keep returning inward as a daily practice so we can increasingly stay connected with our best selves. And then if we have time, talk about professional support like coaches, therapists, those kind of things. If some of these words are not familiar to you, or if I speak too fast, especially because we're in Ho Chi Minh City, please raise your hand and say, please explain that. Some of these words are new, like trigger. We'll go into more detail what that means in the presentation. Then what we're going to do is, and hopefully that gets done in a short amount of time, but you never know, these are new slides and sometimes I spend more time on each concept. We're then going to go and have some experiences that are intended to give you a taste of what it's like if you've never done it before, to turn your attention inward to your thoughts, to your sensations, to your emotions, so you can really get connected to your best self. And then we'll have questions and answers, and there'll be a lot of opportunity for you guys to share with the people next to you as well as with the group. And then at the end, I always do this in my presentations. If you've been here before, you might notice the pattern. There's a decision that I'm going to ask you each to make. And that decision is, have you learned something here, one of the inward experiences that you think could positively impact your day, and will you commit to trying to at least do it once sometime in the next week? And then if you do it, to post it either on the event page or send me an email or something like that. Does that seem fair? Do people understand what I mean by that? Yes. Okay, and so here's tonight's hidden agenda. Okay, the agenda behind the agenda. Basically, the main goal here is just to have a great conversation of like-minded people, people that saw the advertisement about mindfulness and thought, hey, it's the new year, I want to start, right? Or I've never done mindfulness before and I want to give it a try. A founder that has done a lot of mindfulness and is applying it deeper and deeper into how to be a founder that's mindful. This is a cool crowd here. And so one of the big goals is for you guys to just connect with each other and to continuously reconnect with your best self amongst other people trying to do the same thing. And hopefully you guys, meet each other and recognize each other and support each other. You guys are a local community here. And, for example, Alan has a presentation tomorrow about mindfulness for founders. And one of your friends used to have a mindfulness group. Is he here yet, or?
Yes, Tomo was used to before.
Oh, cool. And so that's one of the themes, is really just to kind of connect people that are interested in this. So on that note, this was the slide that you guys started to kind of do. Did everyone introduce themselves to someone? Yep, okay. Does anyone want to share one of the answers that they gave to one of these questions?
Yeah, as I said, I'm normally very nice person and people like me, but a couple of times usually I have negative triggers.
Yeah.
Like now when it happens, so I become very angry and sometimes worried also. And I have observed it now, so I have an expectation, or that expectation was given to me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see that people don't meet that, even when it is easy to do, they could have done it easily, but for some reason they don't want to do it, or I don't see the logic, then I really get wild.
Got it.
So I mostly have negative triggers. There's no positive trigger.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So in today's language, we'll talk about practices you can do. So like mindfulness, meditation, trigger. But you're having a good day, things are going great, and all of a sudden you get triggered, and then you stop being your best self. You kind of react. You might overreact, and it's probably going to get less of an outcome, but you're triggered, so you do it anyways. So that's great. Want to share why you're here?
And I'm just come here to know because my job, they say mindset, because I miss the many customer because I'm a salesperson. I miss many.
That's beautiful. So you're in sales, which is very demanding to really relate to people and connect with them, and you're aware that mindset's important. And
important to me because I know where they are and how I and other people can talk together at the same level as we are.
Yeah, beautiful. So really, if I bring my attention to myself and realize you can start to understand your impact on them, and you can almost see their triggers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And so it becomes a powerful tool that when you apply inward mindset to yourself, all of a sudden you start to see other people differently. And if you're selling to them, maybe you think, oh, maybe I need to figure out how to calm them down before I even talk about whatever my product is. Yeah, so that's beautiful. So mine's all right.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
So mine, I guess I had two intentions being here. First one, I'm glad to see the hidden agenda, that interest. And the other is I genuinely just love learning about this kind of stuff. Like I think about the things that make me most happy, and there's a bunch of different things. But one of them is learning about mindfulness and meditation, and I don't know, it's just really interesting and fun.
Someone who has done it a lot. It's the kind of goal today. Anyone else want to? How many? Yeah. Is there anyone else that wants to share? Or we'll move on. No? So we.
The Pacific Islands.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what caught your interest here? And yeah, what do you hope to?
It's like a job that interesting to me. It's like I want to be happy 8 hours at work. Yeah.
You want to be happy, but you're always at work?
Yeah, happy with 8 hours at work. Because sometimes it feels like I don't really like get a job maybe more interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's kind of thing that I want to do.
You have a job and you're not sure if it's the right one. It might be boring or not fun.
And sometimes it feels like I want to start up a new business, like my business.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like there's something that fighting my mind. Don't really like what I love.
What do you enjoy? Maybe how to make the most of where you're at if you don't change. And that's beautiful. So many people, so the opposite of it is really impacting if you're happy, if you feel safe, if you feel good. And the problem with that is that we can't control the outside world. And so often, and also it's hard to navigate the outside world if we don't understand our inside world. Our thoughts are fine, and it's something else that's making them not satisfied. Or they find, it could send you in so many different directions. So cool, thank you for sharing. All right. So the next part of the agenda is just kind of my background, somewhat. I dropped out of college, a semester short of graduate, rounds of financing that equaled about $9.8 million. And satisfied, and each problem solved only created bigger problems. They call them high-class problems, but still. And each round of financing, as we kind of got closer to it and we were running out of money, I was just so stressed out that I would end up going to the doctor. They prescribed me sleeping pills, and if I couldn't really manage my body, that it was not good. Also, I found that, right, where I just flowed and I didn't worry. I knew what I knew, and I knew it would come out, and I had confidence and belief in that. And so part of applying an inward mindset is really getting to know yourself and allowing your best self to come out even in stressful situations. Also, years later, sessions, it became clear to me that I had very little connection. I had a lot of connection to my thoughts, but not my sensations or my emotions. And I just kind of ignored parts of my, relationships. And it almost caused the biggest, error, getting married to the wrong person. And as I started to learn this and learn more techniques, some of which we'll go do tonight, a whole new world opened up. I learned how to be a better friend, a better, boyfriend, a better son, a better entrepreneur, a better presenter. And so this is kind of where the inward mindset came out of, that experience of, realizing that to really thrive outwardly, you got to first connect inward and become aware of what your thoughts and sensations and emotions are, and not get run over by them. Like, how many people here have a very active mind? I have, yeah, it doesn't stop. Being aware of your thoughts doesn't mean you have to listen to them. You don't have to believe them. Like, anyone have an inner critic that says oh, you're not doing this right, or you should be skinnier, you should go to the gym today, you should, get your work done. I have a huge one. You don't have to listen to them, but being aware that you have those thoughts and being aware like, oh, I should just take a moment to relax and allow myself to, you know, show compassion to myself. That's what's important. The other part of this is I talk about your best self a lot. I'm not talking about improving yourself. That will come, right? What I'm talking about is how do you express what you are today without needing to improve, but for you to have access. So anyone here familiar with flow? It's like when, you know, like an athlete plays their game and it's just perfect, and you throw a perfect. It's all right. So one's work for you. So anyone else? Okay. Okay. So we're going to do today. This is the first exercise we're going to do today. And as you notice, you know, we had practice and then trigger and then noting. We're going to go backwards. So we're going to start with noting. This one's an interesting one. It's a tricky one. Because basically noting is just bringing your attention inward to your thoughts, sensations, and emotions. And then as one becomes, you know, comes into your awareness, you just note it. So you're sitting here and then you feel an itch on your knee. You'll say sensation. All of a sudden you start to think like, oh, wait a minute, you know, what about that thing I forgot to do? Thought. You know, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm feeling kind of sad or overwhelmed, it's the beginning of the year, or excited. You say emotion. And basically you're just trying to sit here, not think, not feel, not sense, but as you do, you just note that. So for example, I'm sitting here and I'm like, sensation, thought, sensation, thought, emotion, and that's it. It's super basic. You're probably going, am I missing something? Like,
Do you feel stress when you image? You close your eyes
oh,
and you take image and you feel stress.
wait, say that again?
When you close the eyes
Mm-hmm.
and you want to image and want to think, and then you feel stress.
Uh-huh. Yes.
I think maybe it's increased stress.
Oh, it does? Okay, then you sit there and you go, stress? More stress? More stress? Thought about closing my eyes creates stress? More stress?
Did you say you want to imagine?
Yeah, imagine about a beautiful thing.
So maybe you have desire to want to.
Oh, so that's a great question. So when I close my eyes, instead of just waiting here, paying attention to things, it's actually trying to envision something that's peaceful. Is that what you mean? So that's another kind of practice, is like a guided visualization. But this is like a base practice that trains you how to start to listen to yourself. Because what you're finding is, you didn't think a thought on purpose. You didn't feel something on purpose. You didn't have an emotion on purpose. They just happen. And when our eyes are open and we're paying attention to the outside world, that's what's grabbing our attention. And we don't realize that we're working like this, our body's like this, and then at some point in the day, you're like, oh, my side hurts or my neck hurts. It's too late. So noting is a way to actually kind of disconnect from the outside world and start to pay attention. So then when we do each practice, and a positive visualization could be one of them, you'll be able to then, afterwards, note, okay, how am I feeling right now? You know, how is my experience now after having done that visualization or that meditation different?
For example,
Mm-hmm.
when you're in the bed condition and you sit down and close the eyes, how can you increase your emotion better?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So if you're in a bad mood or in a bad place and you close your eyes, how can you make yourself better? So That's a great question. The interesting thing about that is the first step is not to change how you are. It's to actually bring your attention to realize how you are in that moment, right? And so that's why
mindset. The ground level, right? Like the formula we have is, you have a practice, which is kind of like what you're talking about. I'm happy about a trigger. When do you do this? And then noting, what's the impact on your internal experience? How are you in this moment? This noting part isn't trying to change how you are. It's allowing you to reconnect to how you are. And that's the first step to actually starting to potentially find your way back to yourself and to feeling better. You know. So we'll come back to this, but that's a great question. The inward mindset, at the very least, is realizing that the information that your thoughts, your sensations, and emotions are giving you, good or bad, are powerful. That will help you connect with your best self and then interact with your environment. Okay? So thank you for asking that.
Can I add to that, actually?
Sure, please.
So, in my experience and what I've learned about meditation, one of the things that makes this kind of labeling or identifying powerful is it allows you to detach from the emotion. So before mindfulness, we like our emotions, our thoughts, and our feelings, we associate deeply with them. I am stressed. I am angry. I am fearful, or I'm scared of something. And when you start to practice labeling these thoughts and recognizing them, you're actually able to detach from them. And so, I'm not sad. I feel sadness, or I can see that sadness is there. In the act of bringing your awareness to the emotion or sensation itself, it loses some of its control over you. You can almost become detached from it, almost like a third party. And so an example is like, when if you're in a relationship and you have relationship struggles, it can be very hard. You're emotionally in the relationship and your head is very unclear. But if your friend is asking you about their relationship issues, sometimes it's very easy for you to say, oh, the answer here is simple. This person's bad for you. It's a bad relationship. You should just break up. It's so simple when you're outside the issue from a third party. And with mindfulness, you can actually train as you train your attention to be able to identify these sensations or these feelings or emotions, you can detach yourself from them, not in a not dissimilar way, or in a similar way that you can detach from other people's problems, so that these emotions, this stress, it doesn't control you anymore. It loses some of its power over you when you can identify it and label it.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Thank you. And it's that could be a 2-hour discussion right there. And so let's experience some of this real soon, and then we'll get back to that. And we talk a lot about mindfulness. On the other side of this, there's a lot of neuroscientists that understand how the mind and the body work, and they're starting to go towards mindfulness. And all the mindfulness people are starting to go to the neuroscientists to really understand why this works. And so one of the examples here, noting in the way that Alan was describing, if you bring your attention to the things that, your thoughts, sensations, emotions, and you don't go into the backstory. So like, if you say, I'm sad, that's good, okay? But if you say, I'm sad because this guy said this and it hurt my feelings, that causes you to start to re-experience those emotions and adds to them. And all of a sudden, you start going from your prefrontal cortex, which is this part of the brain, that's like discernment, judgment, thinking, and it starts to trigger you into the, I just forgot this, the emotional part of your brain that starts to go into fight or flight. So instead of thinking rationally, you're like, oh my God, what's wrong with this? And it's their fault, it's their fault. And you're no longer using the part of your brain that is helpful. That's why when it's you who's sad, you're triggered, you're not using this part of your brain. But then if it's your friend, you're in your prefrontal cortex and you can actually see it like, oh wait, you didn't even like this person. And, you know, they weren't even good for you. You told me last week you're going to dump them. And you know, it's different. So noting is one way to experience it, and note it at a high level so you don't have to re-experience it with the explanation. So we'll go into this. Well, let's try it right now. Everyone pick a partner. Okay. Does everyone have a partner? Okay. So we're going to do a little noting exercise. I want everyone to close their eyes. I want everyone to take a big breath in and out. In and out. Now breathe at your own pace. But I want you just to observe what comes into your attention. A thought, a sensation, or emotion. And when it does, just name it at a high level, like thought, sensation, or emotion. And one at a time. And just do that for a few minutes. Is aware of their sensations that's due to their posture. If you need to, you can adjust or wiggle and go back into noticing. If anyone's attention has wandered, it's okay. Take a deep breath and go back to noticing. Let's take another deep breath in and out. Now you can open your eyes. Alright, so does anyone want to share how that was for them? What it was like? Did they notice anything that surprised them?
Sure. I felt more discomfort in the way I was sitting than I thought I had before.
Nice. Did you change your posture? And had you felt that before I said that, or around the time, or after I said that?
Probably the whole time, but you prompted me to.
Very cool, and it's a great metaphor. Like, I don't know about you guys, how many people when they're working, especially in email, hold their breath and get into like a certain position? They do email a lot. At some point, their back hurts. Anyone else? No? Okay, well I do, and I've heard a lot of it. Some of the things we do that we're not aware of actually can cause like bodily, like your posture can change physically. And so becoming aware of it, like, wow, that is uncomfortable. You can do something about it. And if you don't, you might then, later tonight go, why does my back hurt? It's because maybe it's a little sitting that way. That's beautiful. That's a great example of when you stop to note, you start to identify certain things that might allow you to make a decision, take action. Anyone else?
For a moment I thought, okay, so now that I have come here, so let me find some solution for my problems. So that was the thought. Then I suddenly realized, oh, my leg is paining because I had a exercise of a long time. And I said, oh, okay, something like that. So,
Yeah.
So, and then I started thinking, oh, I need to go to India next week, so I started planning to go that. So mostly it's different thoughts.
It's beautiful. And what's amazing, so he had thoughts about having to prepare for India next week. He had sensations about a foot, and then a story, like thoughts about, oh, because I haven't done this or I've done this, right? And if you think about it, if you want to do something to your best, what do? You put all your attention into it, right? But oftentimes we don't realize that we might have these under thoughts and sensations and emotions that are stealing our attention away, right? But they're there. And so the first step often is just to kind of note them, see them. And some of the things you might do something about them, and others just become aware. And it's the beginning to apply an inward mindset, knowledge of your internal experience of things, to be your best self. So that's beautiful. Did anyone sit there going, I have no idea what to do or what's the point of this? And it's okay if you have it. That's how I was. And
First time I take a deep breath, not before, not now, but I think like this. Why? Nothing.
Beautiful. So that's a great thing. And sometimes, so I had a 10-day retreat, no talking, meditating. And it's a real old traditional one. Have you done Vipassana, the 10-day Goenka?
No, I'm not been there, but I have heard.
Yeah, you've done it? Okay, thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people in the world have done it. They have centers all over the world. 10 days doing nothing but sitting there. And some people it takes the 10 entire days to just feel sensations under their nose when they breathe. So one of the meditations is just to breathe through your nose and have your attention right here where that kind of breath goes in and out. And some people are like, I can't feel anything! And it actually makes them really mad and agitated. And so this is back to sometimes maybe breath isn't the one that is right for you. Sometimes it takes practice. Sometimes it takes time to kind of settle the mind. But I'm glad you brought that up. The next exercise we'll do, I'll explain a little more, is a mindful breath. And what happens when you do take a deep breath, you're actually activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's way to reduce stress. And so there's actually body systems that are at play. And if you watch out in the wild, there's bears, they shoot them with a tranquilizer, they go unconscious. And then as they start to come conscious, they're like, and then they get up and they just, as if nothing happened. It's their nervous system kind of flushing out the shock of what happened to their body. And so as a human that's conscious, you can actually do this. You can start to manipulate your body's natural organs and systems of how it regulates stress. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so good. Please, and today, if something doesn't make sense or the experience means nothing, bring that up, because this is part of applying an inward mindset is finding what works for you. Okay, so triggers. We talked about triggers already, and so let's take a moment. Everyone think about their lives. What's a trigger that makes someone really mad or frustrated or sad? And what's a trigger that happens all the time in your workplace that might be a good trigger to kind of practice applying something like a breath to? Does anyone?
Bug reports.
What?
Bug reports.
Bug reports.
So we make software, and every time, so sometimes you've used software and something doesn't work like it's supposed to. And so when our customers email into our support system with a bug report and telling us something's wrong with the software, it's just every time I'm like, oh god, it's just a part of the business. They're always going to be there no matter how far along you get. And so I'm working to make you make peace with the bug report. But yeah.
Yeah. So seeing a bug report, which means there's more work to be done. Some users might be affected, or you're not going to be able to make your launch.
Yeah.
Your sense of want to make progress, and maybe there's a deadline. So that gets you angry. So the trigger would be the bug report, so the list of things that are wrong with that software. So in this case, when you know that's going to happen, maybe applying an inward mindset right before that, and then look at the bug report. Cool. Anyone else?
In my business, a lot of these things happen. I think it's just part of the business. I work with translations, and it's very deadline driven. So, for example, just a few years ago, one company they emailed me that the code we provided was more than 30% more, and that we don't work together. So, in that case, we might not even be more expensive, but it's a perception by the customer.
Yeah.
But I could have educated the customers. So, for example, that I tell them, I ask them when can I call you to discuss the code, so I can avoid that situation, because otherwise it's very reactive. I have to be fast, otherwise they reply to me and they just take the other quote.
Yeah. So I think I hear two things going on. And by the way, did you get the email during this presentation or beforehand?
No, during this presentation.
Okay. So there's two things that are going on here. One is a potential trigger is checking email.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in an environment where you want to give your full attention and you check it, which we all do. In fact, I would love to check my email right now. So it's totally cool. And I get buzzed. And then, especially when there's an email where you might be misunderstood, that could be a trigger. Or it might have bad business consequences, that could be a trigger. Fear of failure or whatever. And so these are all triggers, so you can kind of pick at what level. And so for example, in this case, if this was next week and he was at an event and he got an email, he could actually go, okay, now I want to apply an inward mindset. Take 2 deep breaths and then decide, do I want to check? Or, I do want to check it, oh crap, take 2 deep breaths. And then you can go, okay, either I'm going to go and deal with it, or I'm going to sit here and see if I can be present. And so the whole idea is potentially, once you start to develop the inward mindset, you can get the email, figure out the situation, and then still sit there and not be bothered by it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand. I find it very hard to put things away, even if it's only temporarily, and especially in the evening.
Yeah.
Then I take the problems into sleep and
Absolutely. So how many people here have trouble sleeping or falling asleep? Anyone? Okay. And does anyone get triggered when they're laying in bed, they know they have a busy day, and they can't go to sleep, like, crap, I can't go to sleep? Yeah?
I feel like I still have a lot of things that need to be done before going to sleep.
Yes. It's same thing?
Yes.
Yeah, so potentially a trigger could be going to sleep but not feeling tired. Or going to sleep and then having kind of these thoughts. And so that's where you can apply potentially some of this. Cool. All right. That's okay, so we're going to do another exercise. This is the breathing again. But this one is just to really reinforce that. You see up there? There's your parasympathetic nervous system. When you take 2 deep breaths, especially when you go belly, chest, and then you release belly, chest, and I'll show it again, you start to activate all these things. And you'll slow down your heart rate, you'll stimulate saliva, you'll do all these things that are kind of rest and digest. That gets you into a kind of openness, so you be your best self. When you hyperventilate, when you breathe really fast, or you're not thinking about it but you're holding your breath, that's when you go into fight or flight. That's when you're getting into a situation to where someone comes to you and you get triggered, you yell their head off, right? So that's what the breath is. So let's try this again. Everyone sit down like this, get kind of upright. It actually helps when you're upright like this in a dignified position. You can get a little relaxed though. It's kind of like the tension between being relaxed yet dignified. And we're going to do 10 of these. I'll lead it. So basically what we're going to do, and then we'll go do 10, We're going to breathe in the belly, and then the chest, and then out. And if you want to, you can, so you can put your hand on your chest, on your belly if you want. You really want to make your belly as big as it can. All right, I got a big belly. You can look at mine if you're embarrassed. Mine's bigger than yours. Breathe in, chest, and out. Okay, now we're going to do this 10 times. I'm going to guide it. You can do it at your own pace if I'm too fast or too slow. But really just want you to kind of really bring all your attention to your breath. Okay? And then what we're going to do is, after the 10 breaths, you're going to sit there and you're going to note. Okay? And you're just going to say, you know, what's this experience like? And try to notice anything that's changed from the first time you noted to after we've done these 10 breaths. Okay? Alright, get the position again, posture. Okay. Belly, chest, and out. 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 Okay, go back to breathing at your natural pace. Keep your eyes closed. Just note your experience. Note there's more thoughts or less thoughts. You might be aware that there's new sensations, tingling. You might feel happy, excited, confused. They're all valid. Alright, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Does anyone want to share how that was for them? What's that? You feel relaxed. Yes. Yes.
Never happened before.
Wow.
My back pain, something that I feel my back is different.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know. Something drumming behind.
Nice. So earlier you had mentioned that 2 breaths, you were like...
Something in back.
Very cool. So earlier you had mentioned that you did the 2 breaths and you're like, what is this? Like, I don't know what I'm taking, just totally cool.
Empty. You're like, empty.
It's beautiful. And this time, when you did 10 in a row, it felt different. And you noticed the sensations in your back. And not that there's a good feelings or bad feelings, but what did you notice about it?
You know that a long time ago, my talk mainly stuck in my head. Yeah. Sometimes I just release outside.
It's a physical sensation?
Yeah.
And did the breathing make you aware of that, or did it release it?
Breathing.
What?
When I take more breath.
Very cool. Thank you. And anyone else?
No, actually what I felt was just the difference in the sensation on my legs because I was sitting with different positions. That was different, but the image that I had in my mind was exactly the same as the first time I tried. Exactly the same.
Okay.
And then I noticed that my mind is like talking, I'm checking myself, I'm checking everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're thinking about thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is beautiful. Everyone has a different response, and there's different types of people, and that's a very common one. And that's good. And at first it's frustrating. It's like I'm trying to relax, but now I'm thinking about thinking. This is actually adding more thoughts.
Yeah.
And I'm wasting my time. But that's beautiful. Sometimes those are patterns of the mind that we will do that when we're talking to someone. We'll start to have conversations about thoughts, right? And so an inward mindset is about starting to realize what is it like in your mind? What are your thoughts? And then slowly start, once you have that awareness, which is happening, then you might experiment, and the goal will then be is if those thoughts are helpful, but pay attention to them. If they're not helpful, then just kind of keep going, like, oh, I'm thinking about thinking. Okay. Thoughts about thoughts. Thoughts about thoughts. And then maybe later it's thoughts. Thoughts about how good I am at having just thoughts, not thoughts about thoughts. Oh, crap! Anger. Self-critic. Thought. And so this is, it evolves. And some days you'll sit there and you'll be like, oh my God, I got it. And then the next day it's like, thought, I'm doing it wrong, thought, this sucks, this totally doesn't work, thought. But you're starting to tune into that. So thank you for sharing. All right, so now we'll do a body scan. This is another practice. So we reviewed what a trigger was. We talked about noting, and now we're doing practices. So this is the second practice, the body scan. So this is one where we'll do it for about 2 minutes, and then I'll talk about how you can actually do it in just like 5 seconds. Okay? So this is the same kind of thing. Let's kind of get seated in a dignified position, yet relaxed. And we're going to scan through the body. And all I want you to do is when I name a body part is to bring your attention to it and feel something. If you don't feel something, then a sensation is no sensation. If you want to, you can note it. So like if I say neck, you might say tension, stress. Or you just might just notice it. It doesn't really matter. And we'll just kind of go through it. If your attention goes away or goes to thoughts about am I doing it right, that's okay. Just go back to bringing attention to your body. Okay? And what you'll find is we're going to mix and match these. And so we'll start with 2 deep breaths, and then we'll start going there. Okay? So, all right. Start to breathe in with your belly, chest, and out. Belly, chest, and out. Breathe at your natural pace while you bring your attention to the top of your head. Allow your awareness to become aware of any sensations. Might be tingling, might be heat, could be moisture from sweat. Now bring your attention to your ears, the outer ears, any sensation in the inner ears. Bring your attention to your forehead. You've been squinting, you might just allow yourself to relax. Attention to your eyes. Bring attention to your nose. Sometimes it's helpful to bring it to the bottom of your nose. And as you breathe in through your nose, feel the air, the sensations of the air going into your nose and out. If you're feeling no sensation, that's fine. That's a sensation. Bring your attention to your neck. Now bring attention to your shoulders. A lot of people feel stress in their shoulders. Sometimes they hunch them up. Just be aware. If you want to, your next inhale, inhale deeply and allow any stress or tension you might feel in your shoulders to be released. Bring your attention to your upper arms. Now to your forearms, your hands. Bring your attention to your fingers. Now bring your attention to your back, your upper back. Your lower back. Your chest. Pay attention to it as you breathe in and out. You might be moving up and down. To your belly. To your waist. If you have a lot of thoughts right now, it's okay. Bring your attention back to your body sensations, to your upper thighs, upper legs, to your lower legs, your shins, your calves. To your ankles, tops of your feet. Now to your toes, if you like, you can wiggle your toes and see how those feel like. Now to the soles of your feet. Now we'll end this with 2 deep breaths. Breathe in with your belly, chest, and down. Belly, chest, and down. When you're ready, you can open your eyes again. Breathe naturally. Alright. Anyone like to share how that was for them? Anything they noticed or experienced? I don't know about you guys, but did that make you sleepy? Sleepy? What's that? You feel better? Oh, good. So you felt tired. You felt a little tired? Sleepy, yeah. So what's interesting is sometimes people fall asleep when they meditate. And one response to that is when you bring your attention to yourself and your experience, you realize that you're tired. And sometimes that's your body's natural, ability to regulate itself to say, go to sleep. Sleep is a trigger for a lot of people. Other times it's just a matter of practice. Kind of bringing your attention back as you get tired. You bring it back to your, you bring it back to your posture like this. You might take some deep breaths. There's walking meditations, so basically you're doing the same thing, but instead of sitting with your eyes closed, you're standing up straight and you're walking slowly. And you start to note your experience, like lifting leg, shifting body weight, putting it down. You say to yourself, and it kind of looks like, just... Yeah, sleepwalking. I've done it in a big crowd before, and it looks like you're zombies. It was like, so that's something. The other aspect of it is, if you're trying to go to sleep, maybe do a body scan. That's one way to kind of calm yourself down, and then to fall asleep. So here you're like, damn it, I'm falling asleep, but tonight...
Yeah, that's give it a solution.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll keep going. And how are people doing on time? Do you guys want to do a couple more? Or should I wrap this up? You feeling okay? Yeah? Okay. If we don't have the slides, that's fine. Because I printed out some to keep me on track. All right, so this next exercise is radical. Okay? And this one is to become more familiar with that kind of inner critic or the thought generator in your head, as well as how to kind of calm down and really connect with someone. So everyone, I want you to partner up with someone you don't know. I want you to get together because you're going to be looking at each other. All right, so you guys pair up. If you don't have a pair, raise your hand. Maybe if I turn it off. Oh, you know what? It's overheated. Yeah, close to that. So, if we could move this.
All right.
You don't know me. Yeah, let me find this. Okay, who doesn't have a partner still? You don't? Okay. I think you should do this too, unless you're helping. Okay. You guys are together, you're together, you guys together. Yes, you two together. Okay. Okay. Anyone, you want to come and do this? Yes. We need one more person. Okay, you need a partner.
No, it's
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect.
Only she needs one.
Who?
I'm alone.
Oh, you're, okay, great. Okay, so this, we spent today doing a couple exercises. We're now open. Who here feels kind of connected with themselves? Maybe people here, you guys feel a sense of community maybe? All right, so this is a radical exercise. What you're going to do is you're going to look at someone like this, and you're just going to look in their eyes. And you're not going to do anything. You're just going to look. And not respond, like if someone starts, like makes a face, don't make a face back. Just look. And what I want you to do is just pay attention to your thoughts, sensations, and emotions. Because if you're like me, when I do this, yeah, so, and everyone's different. Maybe it's very natural, maybe you love it. But let's just see what happens. For about a minute, we're going to just look into this person's eyes. And all I want you to do is just really see them. Just open up and accept exactly what you see. Okay? So let's partner up. Yes, So I want you to note that. How does it feel to get close? How does it feel to get eye contact? So just note it. Okay? So you guys, face to face. Okay? And we're going to do like 90 seconds.
Look to the eye and then take a deep breath.
You can breath anything you want. I just want you to experience totally looking at someone.
Okay.
Total, okay? All right, we're gonna do it for about 90 seconds. There's no way of doing this wrong. Just look in the eyes. And go.
talk, just looking. More than halfway there. Note the experience. Your mind is wandering, just come back to the eyes. Alright, I'm going to stop it early. Alright, you can come back and bring your attention back here. Alright, stopped it early. I'm curious, how long do you think that was? Did it seem like a long time? How was that for you guys? Tell me, what did you note?
It was so strange because I realized I never look at somebody's eyes at that long.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute, just like maybe 15 minutes or something.
15 minutes!
Yeah, and then I think I feel like I'm more close to that person.
Ah.
Yeah, I feel like I met this person before, or this is my close friends.
So that was your experience just now?
Yeah.
So after just looking at her, even though at first it was uncomfortable, you feel more close?
More close to her.
I feel more close. But the first time, sometimes my body and then my body leaves and very comfortable to come to me.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes understand.
Yeah. And how did it feel for you? So you obviously had quite the experience, where you both the reaction and then the opening and then the enjoyment. What was it like for you, someone looking at you like that?
It was not difficult because I've done it once.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. So how was it for you?
It's always intensive, like what you can see in someone's eyes, and still at some point it's uncomfortable. Maybe I have to smile or to look away.
Yeah. So it can feel good. If too long, too little can feel uncomfortable, and then the body, the mind starts doing things like smiling. So part of the inward mindset is to start to become aware of what your patterns are when you have eye contact, especially with someone you don't know yet. And what you might do, you guys started talking. You guys were smiling really big. You started to smile afterwards.
Just having a question. When you're looking into someone's eyes, it doesn't mean that you are making eye contact. Sometimes you just look.
Yeah.
It's like you are looking, you're checking the eyes,
Yeah.
the face. So that it's not you are opening up yourself to that person, right?
What's beautiful is your experiences are very similar to mine. I think we're very similar. But everyone has a different experience. So someone looking at you, and you're looking at my eyeball.
Yeah, something like
They
that.
look at you, and they might be like, oh, and really see you. They stop maybe thinking about like the thoughts about you, and actually, wow. And sometimes, like for me, all of a sudden, someone that does that, they open up, and then I start to open up. So it's the inward mindset is all about kind of becoming aware of that, and then present to it. You know, like one of you guys said that you realize that you don't look at people in the eye that much, right? And I forget who said it, but that you felt closer, right? It was nice. And so think of all the patterns that get in our way to establish a nice eye contact that could bring you closer to people, but instead we sometimes will try to avoid it. And I noticed with you guys, I'd love to hear your experience, because at first you guys were laughing, which is again, I do that too, but it seemed like you guys really dropped in, and did it feel different from the beginning to the end?
Yeah, I used to read study in the internet and be careful when you look in your eye with somebody at that time. You may be fooled.
Oh, watch out!
Yeah.
And when I look in his eye, safe, believe, just
Yeah.
believe him. When I communicate with somebody, I usually look in the eyes, I get the information.
Yes.
Take right.
Nice. It was beautiful. I mean, I was looking over, and they had quite the experience from first laughing to then like. And you know, you said that you get information. Doing it too much, you might actually fall in love.
Yeah.
But also feeling safe. Like you both are here to kind of just experience this, right? And so you don't not questioning his motives, right? And so this is why we practice. This is why we call it practice. You do it enough so that in your day-to-day life, you might be in a sales meeting and you look at them. You might not stare at them for a minute and a half, but just this act of looking at them and not being nervous and not looking away and having those patterns in the way, people respond to that. Yeah. It gives them permission. And if you're feeling a certain way and they do it, it can feel safe. On the other hand, if you're talking to somebody you don't know and you get them eye contact and then they're kind of, hey, you know, you can be present to that too. And like, oh, I need to put up a boundary. This is the kind of person that I don't, you know, get eye contact with. And so it's one of those things you start to really become conscious, and it's a decision now. Oh, this person's safe. I'm gonna, you know, really look at them and open up. This person's not, so I'm not. You know, and it's conscious rather than reaction. Anytime, instead of every time you get eye contact, you kind of look down. You know, or instead of getting eye contact, you change the subject, or you make a joke, and then whatever could have happened right 2 seconds later, if we had a strong connection, you know, like you're in a deal, and you really get going, and then all of a sudden they really tell you why they want this car, you know, or you know really what it is that they're trying to address. Oftentimes we interject things because we're uncomfortable, and that derails them to open up and really share with us. Make sense? So this is beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else want to share how that experience was for them? No?
I just had some like early on like nervous laughter. I think like I got some like suppressed laughter. It subsided pretty quickly, and then but I still couldn't help like a smile like the corners of my mouth.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. I know you're a very joyful, happy guy. And what's beyond that? What happens sometimes if you can connect and someone opens up where you know it's not laughing and joking, but it's something really deep. So these are like the big questions.
Yeah. To his credit, he didn't laugh. You didn't crack.
Yeah, because he said.
Yeah, no,
Don't laugh.
I can tell you have a very particular, strong kind of frame of mind. So it was beautiful. You know, like was it a gift to have?
It was alright.
Yeah.
You don't.
Thank you.
Okay, so you guys want to go one step further? Okay, this is one of my favorites. So, and when I present beforehand, I get really nervous because I can't memorize anything. I try, and then I get afraid that I'm going to go the wrong order. And so, what I've been trying to do is speak from my heart. Like, do a lot of thinking and preparation in terms of knowing my subject, but then really trusting that when I'm here, and I'm fully present to what you guys are here, why you're here, what you're saying, that what needs to come out will come out. Okay? And so this next exercise is practicing talking. Not like what you planned in some kind of rehearsed pattern, but to just wait for some words to come out. Okay? New partner. No. We'll keep the same partner. One of you say your A, one of you say your B. A and B, okay. Okay, so A, you're going to do the same thing. So the A person is going to do the same thing. We're going to call this deep listening. They're just going to look into the other person's eyes and just not react. Just look. Person B is going to start by doing the same. But then as some words come up, even the words, I don't know, no words are coming up, you speak. And Okay? And you're not trying to say anything eloquent, right? But you just start to speak, whatever words come to you. You know, it might even be similar to noting, like, I'm looking at you. I don't know what to say. It's hot. You know, like, whatever. And just let it flow. And initially it might feel kind of weird, and then you might just sit there for like 30 seconds. But just let, you know, we're practicing kind of looking inward and seeing what wants to come out. And what happens is, once we start to do that, when we're with someone, we have eye contact. Instead of like just saying something that's not congruent, you know, that's not like, that gets in the way of the connection, something will come up and boom. You know, you might, you know, you want to start your meeting, and instead you might be like, "How was your day?" You know, and they might reveal something that changes how you're going to interact with them the entire meeting. You know, like I've been in a meeting before, and I'm presenting, and things are going, I think, great, and all of a sudden someone's like, "I'm sorry, I can't concentrate. I just got an email, and, you know, someone's sick or someone screwed up, or, you know, whatever." But if I had been present, and when I greeted them, I might have said, "Oh, what's going on with you today?" And this is speaking from my presence. And maybe consciously I don't realize that something's going on, but I could hear myself just asking, "Oh, how are you today?" Like, before we begin, you know, is there anything you want to express? Okay, so let's practice this. First of all, is anyone scared of this? Is this kind of stressful? Perfect! When we're triggered, we're in stress, we're angry, we're all this stuff. So when we practice, it's good to have some stress. So you become comfortable with it, so you can then know your experience when you're stressed. And this is how you start to build that kind of inward muscle. Alright, so look together. Remind who's going to talk and who's not.
You talk to everybody.
B talks. And try to stick with it even if it's really scary. Alright. Okay, we're going to take 2 deep breaths. I'm going to do a stopwatch. Okay, and then I'll tell you when to stop. And if no words come up, just be quiet. Okay, so let's do 2 deep breaths. Belly, chest, and out. Belly, chest, and out. All right.
Okay, just know.
One person's talking, the other one's just listening. Alright, wrap it up, bring your attention back. Okay, how was that? Anyone want to share how it was similar, different?
I feel very stressful and I'm surprised by the way that the words come from my mouth very uncontrollable.
Wow.
Yes. Yes, I cannot control what I'm thinking. Maybe it's not because I'm too nervous.
Okay, but did you have a lot to say?
Yes.
Ah.
But the topic is not very related together.
Okay, so in noting, that's maybe judging, like these thoughts and words aren't related, but they were there.
Yes.
And they started to come out. Do you talk a lot?
At the beginning, I'm talking a
seconds, I cannot think of any
Good.
examples.
Nice. That's beautiful. Sometimes, you know, we think we have a lot to say and then nothing comes out. Sometimes we think we're going to be quiet and then, where did that come from? And it might be a bunch of gobbledygook. But again, it's bringing your attention inward to that and experiencing what's there. And sometimes, and maybe this is what you experienced, a bunch comes out and then nothing's there. And so then it's about curiosity. It's gonna come up. And this is a state of mind. And maybe for this exercise, nothing comes up. That's okay, you're practicing. Something might come up and it's like, wow, I didn't know I was thinking about that. So it's the act of listening to that. How was it for you listening to him?
Initially, I thought he was saying what he had wanted to say, but later on he started to become uninhibited and started saying what exactly he is feeling.
Oh.
And like I was saying, your eyes make me feel sleepy.
Yeah! Beautiful! There's so much in the press these days and in literature, it's all about being authentic. Right? It's important to be authentic.
Yeah.
And it sounds like initially he's just saying what he thinks he's supposed to say, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Suddenly he started saying, oh, I'm feeling sleepy.
And people feel it.
Yeah.
And how many here, when someone actually says what they think, and kind of they're not just nervously talking, but they're sharing?
Yeah.
Does that feel good? You feel like you're starting to get to know someone? Connecting? Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, let's try it now. Switch. A's talking now, and B's listening. And you two in particular. One person talking. Okay. All right, we'll do 2 deep breaths to kind of get into it. Belly? Oh, before we end, how long do you think that was?
45 seconds.
Okay. Okay, it was like a minute and a half. So it's longer. Okay. All right, let's take 2 deep breaths. Belly, chest, and out. Belly, chest, and out. Okay. Just looking in the other's eyes, no reactions.
I have to go soon. I really have to go. But I want to try this. Otherwise I will.
Smiling.
It's not your everyday experience.
No sense.
After this, I'm going to go see a movie and pay for that experience.
Nothing's coming, just sit there and look. Be curious about what the next thought or word that emerges. Any topic's fine.
We see special friends instead of me.
All right. Everyone, come back and pay attention to the front. Thank your partner. All right. How long do you guys think that was? How long did that feel? How long did that feel?
60 seconds.
60 seconds?
1 minute.
1 minute? That was at least 90 seconds. So by practicing the inward mindset, right, bringing in, practicing looking at people's eyes, you're starting to not react as you did before, and starting to really open up and experience it. And you start to experience time differently, right? And so, does anyone want to share how that was for them?
I feel like she did a very good job. It was like I tried to make myself like not respond anything to her, and she kept talking and talking.
Yeah. So did you notice, what was it like trying not to respond?
Like just to make her has just no word to say or something, but she kept talking to me, and it really reminds me of the teacher in high school, like when she teach something to the class and the student will just like speak from something else and do some other things, but she still talking and listening to the rest of the class.
What was your experience of her listening to you talk?
I actually choose I can open my heart.
Huh. Beautiful. So one of the interesting dynamics is, so often, I do this a lot, when I'm listening, I'm like, I'm giving feedback, and I'm really trying to make you feel heard, but it oftentimes gets in the way of me understanding, because I'm thinking about communicating and listening, which gets in the way of listening. When we don't react, other people feel that, and they don't need the reassurance always. And it gives them space, right, to open up and speak from the heart. So it's beautiful, but it takes practice. It does for me. So thank you for sharing. That's really good. Does anyone else have an experience? Okay.
Yeah, can we start?
Okay. Okay, hold on 1 second. Does anyone else have to go? Because we got a little bit more, but we can keep going if you want to, but I want to be, sensitive to everyone's time. Are we good? You guys want to keep going? Okay. All right.
When he looked at me, he said, I rest he work hard long day. Want to sleep, tired.
Yeah.
Nothing walk to be fried when you feel tired.
Ah, yeah. That's good. I mean, so he's opening up to his inner world, what it's like for him right now, and what comes up. And how did it feel to listen to him? Nothing?
Friendly. I feel friendly.
Friendly, okay. So yeah, so he's talking about being tired, and you feel friendly, like connection, right?
Because I think I also work hacking too, but I thinking I want to smile and keep entry in my body. One day I can work harder every day.
Yeah.
Stronger, not every. Friday I feel tired.
Yep. So in talking with him, you felt more tired or more energy?
No, I can keep energy, work every day.
Yeah.
Stronger. Keep Friday, I fairly tired.
Yeah, exhausted. Yeah, and so what's beautiful is as you start to open up, and as especially, this is why I started out talking about community, as your people are practicing to open up, to go inward, you can start to have more authentic, open discussions. And as he's talking about himself, about he's tired, potentially you're now realizing and learning stuff about yourself. Like, oh, I can have a lot of energy, but on Fridays, I know I get really exhausted. And you start to learn about yourself while listening about other people.
Because I love my job, every day my job, I do, I feel
Yeah.
I love it. I can work more hours,
Yeah.
10 hours a day. Yeah. So I feel stronger.
Nice.
Because I love my job.
Yeah.
When you love everything you, when you do love everything you love, you have the energy.
Yeah.
Job.
Yeah. Very nice. Cool. And did you guys know each other before this tonight? First time? Wow. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So this next part is super radical. I need one volunteer that's okay with doing something radical. A little bit stressful, but it's beautiful too.
Okay.
Here? Okay. So can you stand up here? So yeah, right there. Can the camera see him or? Okay. So the group is going to practice deep listening. So in the same way that you do with your partner, I want you to look in his eyes, not react. I just want you to open up and just accept whatever comes out. Okay? And you, I want you to stand there the same way, picking one person at a time to get eye contact with. And then once you have that, you feel the connection to the next person. And just wherever you feel moved to look at, for whatever time, and then move. And if words come up, and it doesn't